And welcome back to the Constitutionals podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Bonus episode 290.5. I did talk to a nice young comedian, as if I'm 70 years old, Richard Savarte. Or you know what? I don't know if it's Savarte. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use both pronunciations. And hopefully I'm never corrected. Because I hate confrontation. And I just did like 5 minutes on confrontation. And then confrontation. Which I don't know what confrontation is, but I don't know. Maybe it does with computers. Constitutionals interview bonus episode. Richard Savarte. He has a new album out called "They're Gonna Know" from the lovely people at Blonde Medicine. It's been out for about 2 weeks now. You can check it out wherever you get comedy albums, wherever you buy them, wherever you listen to them. He's a funny guy. We had a very interesting conversation that I gotta tell you. I know we talked about the special. I don't think we talked about a lot of the context surrounding it. You know, these conversations are just free flow. I have sometimes I write down themes. Sometimes I write down things that I want to talk to about. But you know, other than that, it's just a lot of off the cuff conversation because I'm good at what I do, baby. However. With this one, you know, we just had a nice chat. We talked about his position, his stances on religion. We talked about Radio Shack at some point. I think that was at the top of the episode, so that's good. He's a funny guy. He's just very, very fun to talk to. They're gonna know. It's an exploration of the modern world we live in, where trolls no longer live in caves. I'm reading the copy here. In the album, Richard tells the story of buying 300 Bitcoins when they cost $1 and spending them all on magic mushrooms. He would have had a lot of money if he did not do that. Richard Savarte is he's very dry, very straightforward, very funny. I suggest you listen to this album. I'm not going to tell you to, but I suggest you do. If you want to see him live, you can check out his website, rsarvate.com. And there you can see his upcoming live tour dates. You can see where he's going to be, see where he was. There's where you can also see some of his YouTube videos that he shot. I'm dancing around a topic right now that I'll get to in truly 20 seconds. So I'll stop teasing it. You can find him on Instagram as well. And then you can also find him on TikTok, which is like one of the main reasons I wanted to talk to him. He's got 1.4 million followers. And we talk about this. The pandemic really helped him out, truly. Because he was able to put all his stuff up there and then just get views. And we also chatted about how those views translated into people coming to his show, not coming from his show. People leave and they go, I want to check this guy out on TikTok. And then they see a joke on there that he told. Whoa, it was a joke I like. My life is full. All right, buddy, you got to stop. This is a great conversation. I'm so glad I had it. He's just a nice guy. I feel like we could be friends. I'll tell you this. Most people I talk to on this show, I feel like we could be friends. That's very true. And I'm glad it took me 5 minutes to get to this point. Richard Savarte, They're Gonna Know. Find it wherever you stream your albums, wherever you buy albums, Apple, Google, Amazon, the rest. They're Gonna Know. That's what it's called. 16 great tracks. Richard Savarte, RSARVATE.com for his live show dates. Richard the Comedian On Instagram and on TikTok, he's Richard Savarte or Savarte. I've yet to find the pronunciation. Probably should ask Google. If you want to see a video version of this interview, you can head to the website, youtube.com/C plus comedy. And you can also check out the other interviews there as well, all under the interviews playlist. You can also check out the other podcasts, video podcasts there, LinkedIn Logs, which is the job podcast, and Late Night Lately, which is the late night podcast. News Time is coming back or something. I don't know. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at C plus Comedy, me at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening, and enjoy Richard Savarte. Or Savarte. Oh, professional setup.
Oh yeah, no. Hey, I if you invite me on a podcast, I respect it. I try to show up looking as good as possible.
So you went. I assume you went out and just bought that mic and the headset today.
100%, dude. I just got back from Guitar Center. I am sweating and I am ready to talk about comedy.
Yes, I mean, hey, let's do it. Guitar Center, first of all. I mean, that's got to be the funniest thing that's going to be said all day. I haven't seen one of those in years, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, when I walk into Guitar Center, it's like 90s nostalgia for me. I'm just like, oh yeah, oh, this place still exists. It's like it's the customer service is bad. Everything's expensive. But it's like I'm just holding on.
That's what they should do for they should there's that one blockbuster that I think it's in Alaska somewhere, and
Hmm.
then they should also have one Radio Shack just sitting around with overpriced cables that you don't need anymore,
Oh
and
my
you should
God,
be able to
yeah.
go in there, just touch everything and be like, yeah, this is how it was, kids. This is how we dealt with things back in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah, that's what I want. There's actually I live next to a dance studio, but it used to be a Radio Shack, and they kept the Radio Shack sign. So it's always like, oh wow. But you walk by the Radio Shack and you see like TikTokers working on their dances now.
Oh God, that's kind of sad. It's a little bit heartbreaking if I want to know that there,
It
man.
is heartbreaking. But by the way, I love your microphone, man. That is
Thank
like a
you.
solid I feel like you're like a BBC announcer or something.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's the Blue Yeti. Everyone seems to have one. It
Mm.
works with everything. This is the one that plugs in with the XLR mic input and everything. So I just had to have it, and it seems to fit everything. But I mean, you what is that? The Audio Technica, the that one. Those are so fantastic because
Yeah.
everyone that uses those sounds amazing, and it makes me so jealous.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of people using this. I saw it I saw Joe Rogan using it, so I was like, let's get that. But now I see like everybody using it, so the novelty is kind of gone.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's perfect. I mean, look, and the arm looks good. I
Yeah,
just
hey, like, if I get a little taller during this talk, I can just go right up here.
whenever I want to big time somebody, I always sit up as straight as I can and close to the screen so that
That I felt intimidated when you did that, actually.
look, see, I it's already working.
You know the
What part of
trick.
the country are you in?
I'm in Los Angeles, West Hollywood area.
West Hollywood. Wow, that's a lot of traffic to get over to Burbank and the other places, right?
Oh yeah, like Los Angeles is like it's like five cities. I mean,
Mhm.
similar to New York. If you're in Brooklyn, you don't want to be going to Staten Island. So it's it's the same thing. Yeah, and it's funny because everybody keeps saying like, oh, during the pandemic, everybody left Los Angeles. Oh, there's an evacuation, and I'm like, no, look at this traffic. No one left.
Yeah, it really seems like I'm in Atlanta. It seems like traffic has gotten worse, if that. Like people
Hmm.
just coming in and going, "Oh, this is the time. This is when we should actually be back in the city, ruining
Mhm.
everyone else's lives who decided to stay."
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, and they are ruining my lives effectively. Uh, so okay, you're in Atlanta. For some
Yeah.
reason, I thought New York City. Okay, that's why I was dropping New York references. Um,
I know New York. I've heard of it. The Big Apple, the city that never sleeps.
oh yeah, yeah. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, Atlanta though, great comedy city.
Mhm.
And Laughing Skull, wonderful comedy club. And
Yeah.
I saw your interview with Rob, which I enjoyed a lot.
Oh,
So,
thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's like it is a great comedy city. It's a great place to see live comedy as well. I don't go often, but when it's always nice to when somebody you like comes by, that's what I really enjoy. Last year, I think both on the same night, Weird Al Yankovic and Mike Birbiglia were
oh
coming
wow.
by. I missed both of them by a day, but it was
Mhm.
so interesting to have two. I'm not polar opposites, but opposites in the style of comedy because Mike is
Yeah.
a storyteller and Al is a musician. Uh,
Yeah.
it's crazy to see that those two can coexist and sell out both of their venues simultaneously on the same weekend.
Yeah, I think that that is impressive. So, so what is the Atlanta entertainment scene like? Like, I know a lot of cities, if there's one act in town, everybody just everybody goes to that. Like,
Right.
there's usually in a lot of cities, there's usually not two big acts in town at the same time.
hmm
So, is
Yeah.
Atlanta like that, or do you always have like conflicting choices like that?
I wouldn't say always, but there can be conflicting choices. It's like when I'll reference Bruce Springsteen last
Mhm.
February, he came in, I had tickets, and it seemed like everybody was there, but at the same time, a soccer match could be going on,
Okay.
right across the street at the Mercedes-Benz from State Farm Arena, which is the basketball arena. Similarly, when the weekend came to town, it seemed like truly every child from 13 to 22 was in the stadium. But I
Wow.
mean, it's different. I think for sports, you're gonna come up on times when basketball and soccer go on at the same time, or football and soccer. But then for
Oh yeah.
music, it's usually like one or two acts. Or
Mhm.
if there's a festival going on, it'll be happening day after day after day. So like,
Yeah.
somebody big like Drake could have a concert on Monday and Tuesday, which he did this last tour. But
Oh
then
nice.
Wednesday, it could be Green Day with some Smashing Pumpkins and Linda Linda's, which is happening this
Nice.
summer. Yeah.
Oh, nice, man. Yeah, yeah, so it sounds like there's a lot going on. Like
Mhm.
it's just funny like if I go to like a small town, like if I'm in like some like uh Bisbee, Arizona or Toluca Lake, Ohio, then it's kind of like fun because it's like okay, I might be the only person entertaining anybody on the day that I'm there.
Yeah.
So it's like everybody's like, well, this guy is here and he wants to try to make us laugh, so we better just go. So
Yeah.
there is some kind of like fun to playing that like very small towns.
What's that like? What's it like popping up? Not even just a small town, but being a touring comedian and then someone coming, the people that come for you, you hope it's 75, 80%. But it's a comedy place, and people who live nearby are gonna be like, I want to see comedy, I want to see a comedian, I don't want to know
Yeah.
anything about that person. What's it like when you're able to turn that tide of somebody who sees you and they're laughing at your jokes and you know that they've never seen you and you're
Yeah.
like, I gotcha, I gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's funny because so stand up, that's how you start in stand up. Like you
Mhm.
literally like stand up is starts the most difficult and ends up the most easy because your first show is you're at an open mic where nobody even wants you there
Yeah.
and you're telling jokes and you are just trying so hard to like make a couple drunk people at the bar laugh. And so I'm used to that, you know. And now at this level, I have some people coming to see me. So it's actually a lot easier because, hey, if there's half the crowd there to see me and half the crowd just out to see comedy, I'm like, hey, man, I've already made the drunk people laugh at 2 a.m., you know, like, so it's like, and also they see the people that are there to see me laughing. So then just by it being contagious, they start
Mhm.
laughing too. So it's a lot easier actually.
You have a giant following on TikTok,
Hmm.
a lot more than what I have seen for some comedians I've spoken to. Uh,
Hmm.
what do those people come out? Are you attracting those people from online, and are they seeing you live?
Hmm. Yeah, they're coming out. Yeah, which is really fun because I think like, so I started doing my TikTok during the pandemic when yeah, everybody was just at home. So I think the stuff I was putting out And it was also like pandemic related stuff. And
Mm.
so everybody just started watching me. And now it's cool to see like after the pandemic, like the people that watched me when we were all cooped up in our house, actually coming out in person.
It's like the pandemic was good for you. If
Yeah,
anything came out
that's
for
I know that's a crazy thing. I really feel conflicted about that.
it. You know, what's also funny is in listening to the album, I forgot what track it is, but you do drop that you have just a very casual drop. I've got a lot of followers on TikTok, and I laughed so hard because it was like because like I mean like that's kind of like that's how the barometer is now. It's where
Oh
people
yeah.
I look I am a famous person. I am able to go around the country and tell jokes and look at how many people follow me online, and it really worked for you.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just funny, like the whole followers metric. It's just like w- w- I wish stand-up comedy was not like this.
Mhm.
I don't want to use an app like and like I don't like your followers is like your score basically, like
Yeah,
how good you are as a human being, so I really hate that aspect of it. But so I kind of just joke about it. It's like, hey, what's up? I got a million followers, take a picture. Like it's just like I just start playing into that like very superficial, like arrogant idea of what a person is who just like does social media.
right.
But that's not really, I'm not like that.
No, yeah, I get that. I understand that. And not that I'm accusing you of anything. Yeah, I also appreciate your YouTube channel is just it has what the last two
Mhm.
specials that you recorded at
Yeah.
some comedy places, and that's such a not just for my own research purposes. I think that really paints a picture of who you are, especially with all the clips as well
Yeah.
of who you are as a comic, and that really helps you stand out because yes, TikTok helps a lot, and short form video is great for reels and everything. But the
Mhm.
long form stuff that you can put out and that you already have access to can
Yeah.
really attract more fans and followers in the long run.
Yeah, 100%. Like if I think, if somebody watches you for a clip, they're like, okay, this is funny. But if they watch you for 30 minutes, then they're like, okay, now I feel invested in this person. I want to see what they're going to be up to next. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I think long form, even with, the way reels and shorts is now, like, I think long form is always going to stick around.
Yeah. Do you are you how do you approach writing your jokes if we're dealing with this new form of short form things, but also
Yeah.
you had to release an entire album over
Yeah.
here.
hmm yeah, I think the album is like I just want I want something that people can just something that people can reference if they want to like learn about me. So it's like it's just tough. You go on Instagram and it's like, okay, so what am I supposed to do here? Like, should I click this video? Should I click this? I just want like a body of work that someone can be like, okay, so I need to go get to know Richard. What do I do? Okay, this looks official. Like, let's listen to that. So and it's also just like it's a snapshot of where I am right now. And I think that's what stand up is. Like you're just always evolving. So you can
Mhm.
never really have a complete body of work. You can just have the snapshot here, snapshot there. So, and also one inspiration for this album is just like, as I'm evolving as a person, some of these jokes are going to stop being relevant to who I am.
Mhm.
And, I need to just get them locked down before I change too much. And I can't be like 50 years old being like, oh my God, these dating apps are just wild right now. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, but what's fascinating is as a brown person in comedy, you
hmm
also introduce one of the tracks is Hinduism Inc. And it
Yeah.
is just you talk about your family, you talk about religion, and it's a very good way, a gateway of getting to know you because that is a part of who you are, and in the same vein that dating apps and in
hmm
general can also be a part of who you are. Was that something that you wanted to tackle naturally, to jump on and show people like, hey, I'm a diverse person on stage, but we're also all the same.
Yeah, definitely. I think I mean, I think religion is fascinating. And I think the different religions, the way, and it's just there's so much humor in just the way religion is structured, and it's like it's almost like there's like they're like superhero characters or something, and
Mm,
they all have different personalities, and yeah, so like I'm like religious adjacent probably.
mm.
Like my family is Hindu, but I grew up in America. I have a lot of atheist friends. But I just think like the way these religions are structured is so funny. Like, and I think if we just poke fun at like the different religions, then it's like, hey, this is all the same thing.
Right.
We're all just like creating some structure for ourselves to like uh feel better about ourselves. And I just think it's funny the way the different religions do that.
Yeah. I'm reading the Three Body Problem trilogy right now,
Hmm.
and I'm on the third book, and they kind of the writer I cannot pronounce her name for the life of me, but she kind of writes essentially just that
Hmm.
because these aliens have come,
Yeah.
and everybody's like, well, I guess we're all gonna die at some point. I also I want to mention religious adjacent. I think that might be the title for your next album.
Yes.
It's perfect.
I think that's what I am because it's funny because you see a lot of people that let go of religion and
Hmm.
then they start saying things like, oh, okay, well, it's always it's we live in a simulation, and if you say we live in a simulation, then I'm like, okay, well, who programmed the simulation? And then you go like, oh, well, some programmer, and I go, okay, well, then so that's your God, basically. So at some point, I just feel like everybody is a little bit religious or spiritual,
Yeah.
no matter how far you go, and even if you say there's no God, this is all an accident, it's like you still something made this accident too.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
uh,
No, it makes sense. It feels like, some people looking at like an agnostic person, they're afraid to put a label on it. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
dating, like, oh,
Mm,
I really like this person, but yeah, I don't want to get too fresh with them. I don't want them to
yeah.
fresh, that's what it kind of feels like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's funny. It's like my relationship with Hinduism is it's complicated.
It's kind yeah. Are you seeing Hinduism? I don't know, kind of, maybe.
I mean, Hinduism is my side piece.
As well, while you're touring, what's it been like? You're a young person. What's it been
Yeah.
like touring right now in this day and age with the dating apps or with exploring new cities and meeting new people and eating different foods? How has that been for you?
It's a little my social battery is very small. So it's like by the time I'm done with doing my stand up, like afterwards, it's a real struggle for me to like really keep up the energy and like talk
Mhm.
to everybody and assign stuff. But I'm getting better at it. It's just been a weird thing for me because I'm a natural introvert. And I just fell into stand up because I just found out that I was good at it, and also, I'm a morning person. So
Okay.
that makes it really difficult. Like if I
Yeah.
have a 10 o'clock show, I'm like, okay. And then, I'm off stage by 11:30.
Mhm.
Like I could literally just walk off stage into a bed and that would just be like perfect. But so it's been like it's complicated. But look, I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way. And
Yeah.
it's I also think like I mean I all my life I've been like very awkward and introverted, so I think being like this in the spotlight is like forcing me to do all of the social interaction that I missed for the last 30 years.
Hmm. Yeah. When did you find out that you were good, and what was that transition like to go to not that you're afraid, but to tackle this
Mhm.
fear of I'm going to be on stage, I'm going to be in front of everybody, even though on the inside I'm saying go back behind the curtain.
Yeah, man. So, well, the trend getting into it was, or finding out that was good was interesting because I used to do like I thought I was gonna be a musician,
Mhm.
and like I'm rocking the guitar all the time and stuff like
Okay.
that. I just thought I was gonna be a musician, and so I would record a bunch of music, and then I had friends be like I was not very good, and they would be like, they would listen to my song and they'd be like, yeah, the song's all right. They're like, but you're kind of funny though, like, And so they were like very gently like steering me away from music.
Yeah.
So, and so I tried to do comedy, but like, man, the initial getting on stage is so difficult. Like, I would go in college, I would go to open mics and sit there and then just leave. And I did that so many
Mm.
times. And it took a long time. It took many years of just going to open mics and sitting there before I actually got the guts to go up. And man, after the first time I went up, it was just like, I mean, it was like skydiving times 10.
Yeah.
Like, I just could not believe it. I was like, and then after I got off stage, like, I couldn't even remember what I just said. Like, I think it was one of the most intense experiences I've ever had.
Do you still get any sense of that rush now, even though you are established in this industry?
Y- yeah, I still get the rush. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely like a drug. It's every time you have a new joke work,
Mhm.
that's when you get really excited.
Okay.
It's like yeah, and it's like you have to keep writing because if you keep doing your old jokes, they kind of work, but the audience can tell that you're not interested.
Yeah.
And like so I think stand up is so interesting because it takes so much work for so little. I mean, it's insane. Like this album like is an hour, and I mean, it's probably like, I mean, some of those jokes are, from 5 or 6 years ago,
Mm.
and it's like it just took so long to get an hour.
Yeah. Are you like now that this is out, and I asked this to almost every comedian, but since this is out now and you're now talking about how long it took you to get to this point, do
Yeah.
you feel like you have to put the pedal to the metal for the next one and maybe have that time and see if you can develop jokes quicker?
Yeah, I think so because yeah, it really does. It's funny because when you're getting started, like you have your whole life to write your first album, and then even traditionally with like bands, like they have their whole life to write their first album, and then the label says, okay, we need a new album next year,
Yeah.
and then it's like it's a lot of people rise to the occasion. Like I just went to go. I just went to see Danny Brown, and he released two albums last year,
Yeah.
and I, and now he's on tour. He's doing 5 shows a week, and I'm like, okay, so this is like a prolific person,
Hmm.
and meanwhile I'm here like, okay, I got one album, and okay, it might be like 4 years before I drop another one. I'm like, no, 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 no. We gotta like really, like if you want to get to that like real artist level, like I think you have to be really writing as much as possible.
Yeah. And I think it's good that you mentioned Danny Brown. I saw him with JPEG Mafia last
Oh
year,
yeah.
and
Yeah, he
that
was there
just
too.
yeah, it was a fantastic show. Also, it was at this theater in downtown Atlanta, and they had no AC, and it was just sweltering
Oh,
hot in
wow.
there, and everybody was dripping sweat, and people had Nintendo 3DSs taking videos. It was very funny.
Oh, nice. They
But
would be.
but after Danny got clean, he's off
Yeah.
of drugs, and I don't think he drinks, but he really became a better artist. And
Hmm.
and like you said, he released multiple albums, and he's touring so much, and he has his podcast, and it's
Yeah.
on video, and he's been really open about his past and his struggles and everything. And he's just a
Yeah.
very interesting and fun and funny guy.
Hmm.
That is a good person to, even if you're not in the same part of the industry, but it's a good person in entertainment to follow and really kind of mold your work ethic after.
Yeah, it's really funny to see that transition. I mean, because if you listen to the early stuff, I mean, the stuff he's saying is outrageous.
Yeah.
And now to be a sober guy, it's really funny because if he still plays the hits, when he
Mhm.
goes up there, but you can tell that he's not like his heart is not fully in it. Like, he's because he's got like a daughter and he doesn't want to be rapping about, you're just saying, saying awful things. He's like, oh, I'm like my daughter's gonna listen to this and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting to see that like evolution. But yeah, he's more successful than ever. I mean, I saw him here in LA at the Belasco, and it was everybody was just like, and when JPEG came on, man, everyone went nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Did
that's
he
like
did well, no,
sorry,
go on.
I was just gonna say, and that's the newest album, so it's good. If people are
Yeah.
going crazy for your newest stuff, that's great.
Did JPEG do a cover of Call Me Maybe?
No.
He did a
Oh.
cover of Call Me Maybe, and they turned up the auto tune obviously for that, but
Uh-huh.
it was pretty good. I can't even front.
That's awesome. No, I would have gone crazy if they did that.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great show to go to. I would if they could have AC at that point, I would have enjoyed it more, but
I
can't really.
know, dude. What is with the lack of AC? Like, it must AC must be the most difficult thing in the world to install because, like, I've performed at multiple comedy clubs in the summer where I'm just like, hey, can we just like not all be sweating right now? Like, I'm like, and then they're like, yeah, we want to install AC, but it's going to be a whole thing, and it's like the rent is really high here, and I'm like, okay, like,
Oh God, we want to. Jesus, like the
yeah, we
fact that they
want
can.
to, but yeah, it's like some like AC must be the most difficult thing on the planet.
Without naming names, you
Mhm.
can be as specific as possible.
Sure,
What
yeah.
kind of shitty clubs have you performed at with the lack of AC, with a green room, the toilet that doesn't flush all the way? What's it? What kind of places have you performed at like that?
Oh my God. Yeah, I probably shouldn't name names because that is my livelihood. But there are
Mhm.
places where, like, I mean, definitely there was something wrong with the sewer system. And, I'm sitting in the green room and I'm just like holding my nose. I'm like, can't I just get on stage and leave? Uh, you know, uh, I've been to comedy clubs where like it feels like the owner hates you.
Oh
And
God.
I've been to comedy clubs where the owner will heckle you while you're on stage and they think that's fun.
Ugh.
Uh, that place was that. So I hold a special place for that in my heart. I
Mhm.
hold a special place for that club in my heart. It's closed now, and it was called the Funny Stop, and it was in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, and it was. Oh my God, it was so fun. It was like a cafeteria basically. They were just slopping stuff on people's plates. Like it would just be
Ugh.
like some sort of red mixture, on everyone's plate.
God.
And then like you're performing in front of this, what it looked like a chalkboard. It was just a chalkboard that had a bunch of writing on it. And then, you'd be on stage and then, I would do a joke or something like that. Like, hey, Hinduism is interesting. And then he'd be like, Hinduism sucks. It'd be like, and like, oh, and you're like, you want to get paid, right? So you're like, oh, yeah, yeah, I guess it does suck. And then you're just like, you're just selling out so hard. It
Yeah,
was very special time.
that was called the Funny Stop.
The funny stop.
It,
Yes.
wa- it looks like they did what their namesake implied, is they fucking stopped there.
They stopped the funny 100%. I think
Oh,
yeah, if you go way back in my Instagram, there's like a photo of me performing there.
oh God. Well, I mean, now you don't have to do that. It's not. I mean, not like you're going to be doing stadiums, but now that with this album, you kind of solidified yourself as a tier above places like that, where you don't have to go around doing bullshit like that.
Well, everybody cuts their teeth. Like I don't want to say anything bad about the funny stop. Like I enjoyed my time there.
Mhm.
But it was like it was basically like a boot camp, you
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
And it's like if and I think what the owner was doing, probably what he was doing was like preparing us for dealing with hecklers on the road, you
Mm.
know. So it's like he's like, hey, I'm gonna attack you in this like safe environment, and then because hey, somebody on the road might actually be malicious towards you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I actually like feel grateful for those places I started in.
You're a smart person because I would be looking back like God, I hated that so much, and I'm glad they're closed. I'm very petty. I would have been like, fuck those people.
Yeah, I mean, you want to feel like that, and I think a lot of my life has been like just, from a Zen perspective, just
Mhm.
accepting people the way they are. Like every single person that I meet, I'm like, okay, this person is here to give me a lesson. You
Mm.
know, it's like, why would someone mistreat me? Like what did I do? Is that their problem? Did I do something? Um, Generally, if someone does something bad to you, it's they're having a bad day.
Mhm.
Like my friend was telling me she was performing at this show, and she, the time of she was supposed to do 10 minutes. She was probably at 11 minutes, and the owner just turned up the music super loud, like
Oh
so
God.
loud, and then I mean she was having a great set. She was
Yeah.
crushing. And he just turns up the music so loud. And then she's like, wait, what? And then he comes over the mic. He goes, you're over your time. Get off. And then she's like, oh, okay. And then she just left. And she had already said, hey, this is my last joke.
Yeah.
And, so but that's not her fault. And that guy, who knows what happened to that guy that day?
Yeah.
Maybe somebody, kicked his dog or something.
Jesus. Like the one of the worst things you could possibly think of. Um, there's something I also noticed when I listened to this album. It's you are and you just mentioned it, you are very relaxed. And it is kind of like you're talking to friends, and it feels so intimate. It's so intimate that I can hear people's individual laughs. I know when
Oh
there's
yeah.
a certain lady that is really enjoying it. I know
Mhm.
when there's a guy in the back that's like so positive and really into it. Where as a comedian, as someone who's supposed to be typically stereotypically jaded and angry
Mhm.
at the world, where does that come from? Where did that come from prior to your career, and how do you keep maintaining that? Even still thinking of, oh, that person might have had a bad day or
Yeah.
something like that. Uh, does that stuff, the heckling, potential heckling, does that any of that ever get to you?
It does get to me. Oh yeah. No, I feel and I think what happened is that I actually became so jaded that I decided, well, I might as well just have fun.
Hmm.
So like I would not say like I'm above being jaded. Like I've been heckled, I've left the state, I've driven home in tears. Like
Hmm.
all that stuff has happened to me. I think now it's just acceptance. Like this is what I'm doing with my life, and hey, there might you know what it is? I watched the Arnold documentary, and
Okay. Yeah.
he kept on saying be useful. And I was like, okay, you know what? I just want to be useful. So, hey, my job, somebody paid money to come watch me. So my job here is to try and make this person have a better day. Like
Yeah.
that's the service that I'm providing here. Uh, so I try to like take myself out of it. And, it's almost like hey, I'm working at the cafeteria or something like that. Like my job here is to just put food on plates correctly and stuff like that, so people feel like they got what they came for. So when I took myself out of the equation, I think that's when I started becoming more relaxed and happy on
Hmm.
stage.
I like that. That's a good analogy, the cafeteria thing. That's a really good analogy.
I
Uh,
don't want my fans to think that like, I just feel like I'm a cafeteria worker, but it's like I think of stand up as a craft.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's also Kismet that you mentioned the Arnold documentary. I
Hmm.
just finished. He was on Howard Stern in November, I think, and I just finished that interview. Where and like basically at the end, he was just like, "Yeah, I'm not as strong as I used to be, and seeing myself in the mirror kind of stinks." But there's an older gentleman at his gym that's 80 years old, and he continues to come every single day, and that's how he just wants to stay healthy. And you're
Yeah.
doing that with your attitude and with your comedy, and it's just great all around.
Yeah, I think it is funny. Like stand up takes so long to get good at, and every single year that I do stand up, I go, "Oh, I'm actually better than last year."
Right.
So, it's like as long as that keeps on happening, I'll keep going. Because I just want to see how good I can get.
Yeah.
Because a lot of and luckily, like with like bodybuilding, I mean, there's a shelf life there. Like
Mhm.
past your 20s, you're not going to be like winning bodybuilding competitions. But stand up, I mean, you can just keep going until you're 80. So
Yeah.
like, let's do this, man.
Yeah. Let's go. You have at least, I don't know how old you are. I'm gonna say you have at least 50 more years. So there you go.
Yeah, I could rock 50. Yeah, sure. I mean, Colonel Sanders started KFC when he was 65. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and KFC is still going pretty strong.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta find your 21 seasonings or how many seasonings is
I actually don't know how much seasoning on
it?
KFC.
However many dozens of seasonings that they put in that chicken.
Oh yeah, it's good though, man. Oh, and those mashed potatoes, man.
Well, Richard, I don't want to take up too much of your time. This has been a fantastic talk. You're a very funny person, and
Thank you, man.
truly, it's a joy. Hopefully, I get to talk to you next time more about your life in Silicon Valley.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, hey, and if you want to do another episode sometime, I'm happy to do that. And when I come through Atlanta, at the Laughing Skull, would be great to see you.
Oh
So
yeah, of
yeah.
course. All right, Richard. Congratulations on the release,
Thank
and
you.
thank you so much again. I very much appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Chad. This was really fun.
You're very welcome. I'll see you.
All right, thank you. Have a great day.